who is this fucking ugly sarm goblin, broccoli-headed fuck I keep seeing on my For You page? I've seen him trolling my Cohern, I've seen him rizzing, and I've seen him ask everybody what their bench PR is. But I don't really know who this guy is. Seems like he's made a successful clothing brand called Retaliation Project, where he's apparently made over $2 million in revenue. Today I'm going to be giving you guys an exclusive interview into the depths of this man's mind, because this man is actually me. Okay, bye.
It's come to my attention that a lot of you guys don't know me that well, and I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce myself, talk a little bit about how we even got to this point here, talk a little bit about my transformation going from, homeless pretty much to now making a full-time living online as a YouTuber. I just got this condo, I made a video on it. I got a car last August, and a lot of people were roasting my car. Listen, I know it's not a Lamborghini, but when you go from no car to a car and no house to a house, you're nothing but grateful. But I guess we'll just start with the origin story, if you will. So I have a pretty common origin. It starts with a girl. I went through a bad breakup. But I would say my breakup was unique in the fact that right after me, my ex-girlfriend started dating a celebrity, like someone with 10 million followers on Instagram, someone who's recognized and won awards for music. I don't want to dox who it is, but if you live in my country, you probably know who it is because you've probably heard about the person. And I looked at the guy and I said, well, this guy isn't particularly special or talented. He just has a platform. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do the same thing. And that was when I was kind of conscious to my purpose and what I wanted. I actually always knew that I wanted to do social media, but I never had the guts to do it. And this redemption arc was something that kind of catalyzed my rise. And I also believe that this was the appropriate use of envy, because I looked at the guy and I was envious. I was like, I want what he has. But instead of hating on him from a distance, I was like, okay, cool. Let's start. When I started though, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I at first thought I was gonna be a crypto millionaire. I worked in a legal construction job and I made $4,000 from it, hard cash, okay? And what did I do? I invested in a crypto. But what crypto did I invest in? I invested in Terra Luna after someone gave me the worst advice ever for investing. And that particular crypto, you see Bitcoin and Ethereum, those are at all-time highs, but Terra Luna, that is down. That is absolutely down. So we have zero money now. So I then got a job at my university, changing garbages, picking up litter. It actually didn't pay that bad, but my boss was a fucking dick. And I realized to break free from the shackles of modern society, I would need to get a job with some sort of upwards mobility. And I saw social media as a way to do that, but at first not as an influencer, but as an editor. I thought I could edit for big ticket clients and make a shit ton of money that way. So that's what I did. So I started learning Photoshop, video editing, all that stuff. I actually got a job working for a fitness influencer, a very popular one at that. I actually had an opportunity to work with Alex Eubank. That never ended up happening, but I've worked with a ton of fitness influencers, and this was before I even had an Instagram myself, platform myself. And I had nothing. Right? I hadn't even made one video, but I was editing for other people. I started working with this guy for about a year. So I'm 18 at this point. And I actually figured out that he scammed me. Scammed me $2,000. Cool. So that was not the best. And I remember when I found out about this, I needed more money because I was losing money working with this guy. And I was honestly looking back at it, it was so obvious, but I was 18, the guy was 23, and he's promising me all these things of amazing success and all that. And I was like, yeah, you're right, let's just get it done. Let's just edit the videos. Let's just have all these great results. But he was taking from me behind my back. And like I said, I didn't see it. I was naive to it. It's part of being a kid. And so when I found out about it, I started working with this other influencer, Josh Bryant. He's Cousin Crypto. He just had a boxing match. He does mostly crypto content. He doesn't even really post anymore. But I wanted to edit for him because I needed some money. So I went to him and I said, hey, I'll do you a free video if you like it. Maybe you could hire me. And we did that, and I made probably 3 videos for him in total. And he ended up hiring me because of the first video I did. But I remember I told him about my situation with this other influencer, and When I told him, his jaw fucking dropped, and he's like, dude, he's fucking scamming you. And I was like, what, how? He's my best friend, how, he would never scam me. Yeah, he was. So now we're down $4,000, and someone I worked with for years scammed me. So eventually I just said, fuck it. Okay? All these influencers, the only thing they're better than me at is being a piece of shit. And you could already kind of tell my disdain for fitness influencers maybe from the tonality that I'm taking with a lot of my content directed towards them.
This is the worst case of fake natty we have ever seen, and he's also a scammer. My boy cheated in a natural bodybuilding show and scammed an editor.
But regardless, I was like, this is my time. Okay, I'm gonna be a fitness influencer now. So I did it. I started posting, and after posting 15 times a day for a few weeks, I had 40,000 followers on TikTok. No YouTube, no Instagram yet. Then I just started getting better and better. We eventually reached about 150,000 followers, which was great. And you know, I kind of was still in school. I was like kind of half in the influencer thing, half out. I wasn't really making money from it yet. So I was like, okay, we need some proof of concept. I'm gonna start a clothing brand. Because no clothing brand wanted to work with me, I reached out to tons. I wouldn't say no clothing brand, but like the ones that you like. I actually never hit up Young LA, but like Gymshark and like all these other brands. Like, sorry, you don't have enough followers. It was time for me to retaliate. And that's why I started Retaliation Project. But like I said, I needed some proof of concept. So we had a drop, we hyped it up. I had a couple good TikToks that went semi-viral. Same with some Instagram Reels. At this point, I did have Instagram, and I did start YouTube. We dropped, and in the first day, we made $80,000. And then the brand almost failed because the bank called me, and I didn't have a business account. They said, hey, why do you have randomly $80,000 in your personal account? We're actually gonna lock it because we think you're a drug dealer. Okay, they didn't say exactly that, but it's pretty much what they implied. And so I, with the help of my friends and going to every bank in my area and applying for a credit card and getting a credit card and then paying the manufacturing bill on credit, we were able to actually launch the brand and give it life. From there, we signed Logan, who is horse meat. We signed Shan, who is our first ever athlete, who's still with us to this day. And we just ran it up. We went to LA, made a lot of great content, some legendary content, honestly. And a lot of people still know us for that. And yeah, it was great. It was sunshine and rainbows. I was making money. I was growing. People in the brand were growing. It was phenomenal. It was definitely a struggle doing that while doing school. And then maintaining a social life was difficult. I remember while I was doing school, I was posting. At that time, I posted a lot. I used to post like 5 times a day, and I would edit all my videos, and I would also do all the captions manually because I didn't know you could do it automatically. So I'd literally type out all the captions, which took fucking forever. And then I'm obviously trying to work out. I remember around that time I started taking steroids because I wanted to get big for my account. And then I realized that no one even gave a shit about my physique. I would say that taking steroids definitely helped my career because but for the opposite reason than you'd think. So a lot of people just look at my physique and just assume I'm on steroids because like some of my, I won't lie, some of my pictures and videos, I look insane. And there was a point when I was on steroids that I was 6'2", 235 pounds and like shredded. So I was huge. Like people would say it in person, like, holy fuck, you're huge. I'm not on steroids anymore. I'm probably 225. I'm not that lean. And now people say, oh, you look like shit, but it's like I'm not on steroids anymore. So how am I supposed to maintain like the look, you know what I mean? But the fact that I was open about it caused a lot of controversy with people, you know, claiming one thing or another. Either I'm gonna die and my heart's gonna explode, which is not the case, obviously. I'm a piece of shit for taking steroids, which is like, why? It's a personal decision. And a number of other things. I actually took like a relatively moderate approach to it. I wasn't really trying to go for any long-term steroid use. I definitely will use them in the future, just because I'm extremely intelligent in deploying these things in a safe way. When I did originally take them, my blood work was like phenomenal. It was like I was healthier than people who are natural. Male hormones are always gonna be demonized because male hormones are power. Why do you think it's easy for a woman to get testosterone, but not for a man. And a man can go to the clinic and chop his dick off, no questions asked. You know, that's not difficult at all. If a man says, put me on estrogen, that's fine. My thing is like honesty is like the best policy. I'm not natural. I know people who look better than me on social media, who claim natural, who I know for a fact are on steroids because they've told me, and I can't like say it because I'm not gonna like make a video on that shit because they told me in confidence. Like if it came out like through the news or something, or they admitted to it, like maybe I'd cover it for like a news purpose. I'm not gonna talk about what people told me in confidence. That's fucking weird. You know, it warps people's minds, and I hate it so much because, you know, as a kid, like I struggled with body dysmorphia. I'd look at the magazines and wonder why I don't look like that. And the fact that people will look at that and look to profit off of the insecurities of young men is absolutely bonkers. I just intellectually process the fact that they are selfish and they just want to make money, but I just don't even know how you go through with that shit, man. Like I could never. I would say my biggest struggle was actually just like my mental health and being sad, and I was always able to work through being sad, but being sad in general is demoralizing. It is 100% possible to pull yourself out of that. By the way, pressure is a privilege. I think part of the reason was I just never had friends. I obviously had friends, like, but I never had like a best friend or like a close group of male friends, which was not because I was bad socially. I mean, I always had women around me for sure, which doesn't mean you're great socially, but I always had women around me. I always had people who wanted to be my friend, but I feel like I just never put in the time because people don't understand relationships. It's a two-way street and it's work. People think, oh, we're gonna be friends, so that means that we're just gonna naturally exist together and do all the stuff together. No, it's actually like a job. Like you actually have to put in effort to receive effort back. And that was something that I feel like I guess I just wasn't willing to do. It left me really isolated, especially during the C word time. And I was just absolutely, you know, alone. And that was also kind of a blessing in disguise because I had a lot of time with myself to like really reflect. And I think what happens to a lot of people is the reason they never start on that business or that workout routine or whatever it is because their attention is always external and then they feel like they have to push it back, right? So let's say I want to start a business. All right, I'm going to start it tomorrow. You know why? Because right now I'm scrolling on my phone, I'm on TikTok. And then later I gotta go to the gym, so I gotta put my headphones on and walk to the gym. And then while I'm at the gym, I'm working out. And then after the gym, I have class, so I'm gonna go put my headphones on, walk to class, take my headphones off, listen to the teacher, then I'm gonna put my headphones back on and go home and cook a meal while I have my headphones on. And then I'm gonna go in my bed and watch YouTube, and then I'm gonna be paying attention to that. So you see, that whole process is pretty common for a lot of people, and it's like, your attention is always external, so you have no time internal to reflect. But yeah, loneliness is like a big thing, and the reason I'm like being vulnerable and sharing that with you guys is because I think that, man, it's like an epidemic. The loneliness epidemic for men is real, bro. And it's not like everyone who's lonely as a guy is like some fucking weirdo. It just happens. Like sometimes you're blessed with like a good friend group as like a kid in the neighborhood you live in. If you're a city boy like me and everyone's in a fucking apartment building, you just never have that opportunity. And now the counter to that is you just have to put yourself out there. So recently, I'll tell you what I did. I became a security guard. And a lot of people were like, why'd you become a bouncer? Like, you already were famous on the internet. The reason I did that is because I knew I would find guys like me, guys who like to work out, stuff like that, and I'd build connection and brotherhood through that. And so actually, like a lot of my friends now, like my best friend, pro boxer, security guard. One of my homies, jiu-jitsu guy, security guard. We all work out together, train, go out, nights out together. I was able to find that, you know what I'm saying? And I encourage you guys to attempt things like that so you don't feel so isolated. I was also living in like a town for school, and since the C word in Canada took 2 years, you couldn't go outside for 2 years. That was my freshman year and my sophomore year, and then I was able to go out my third year, but I couldn't really because I was trying to do social media, right? So I was sacrificing a lot of time there. Yeah, it was hard, but you just have to put yourself out there. And now I can say I have a pretty good male friend group. But being lonely and isolated was something I really struggled with, and that would be my suggestion to you guys. I also had a huge sex addiction. I don't even know how I'm saying this, but I would be, I don't even know if I want to get into that, to be honest, but it's like probably one up from like a jerk off addiction, because like you're actually getting with a girl, but dude, you just feel so fucking gross. I feel like I just had like way too much. I feel like that's how I like coped with being lonely, is I just like fuck girls, because I'm thinking, oh well, you know, if I fuck this girl, like, it means she likes me and she wants to spend time with me. It was fucking stupid, but yeah, not even all these girls were hot, like anything with a hole, dude. But anyway, I think people, they look at mental health, men's mental health, and men's mental health is like kind of stigmatized. It's like on one end of the spectrum, it's like, oh, you're a fucking pussy if you talk about your emotions, and on the other end of the spectrum, it's like all these like kind of weird people being like, you have to be in touch with your emotions and you have to be gay and paint your hair blue. It's like one or the other, and I feel like it just really just doesn't fix anything. I think like at your core, I feel like at the core of this issue is the fact that you should be masculine, and being masculine is not necessarily having fucking the highest testosterone and being like the most buff guy. It's in like the best fighter. It's more so about being on time, being responsible, sticking to your word, having honor. Like that's like masculinity. And then as long as you have those things, you should be able to be open and talk about your emotions and what you've been through. Like I'm pretty I'm not like super emotional, but I'll talk about like how I feel, like just like openly, because I feel comfortable doing that. But I feel like a lot of guys haven't gotten to that point, and since they haven't gotten to that point, they don't even know how to diagnose whatever problem they have. Like they know, yeah, I feel like shit, I feel lonely, I feel weak, I feel fucking gay, but I don't know how to fix it, because they never had that like even internal dialogue, or they've never expressed their issues to another person for them to diagnose. It's actually crazy the transformation you can make just with applying yourself and putting that effort in. So right now I want to talk about like actually achieving your goals, because I told you like kind of the process I went through in terms of going from nothing to something, quote unquote. But I truly believe that achieving your goals is just a mind over matter thing. Manifestation and visualizing and all these things, they're extremely powerful tools. Now, granted, you know, you can't really manifest in certain places. You're in Africa, you think those kids aren't fucking manifesting food and water? Like they are. It's not just gonna magically come to you. But if you're in a situation in North America or one of these countries that's, you know, like on the safer side and a little bit more affluent, you can create your own reality. This is all a matter of perspective, all a matter of worldview, and all a matter of how much work you're willing to put in. If you have the perspective and the worldview that you are going to dominate, you are going to be resourceful, you are going to be impactful, you're going to be inspiring, you will most likely achieve all those things just by virtue of wanting to do it and applying yourself, because the next person isn't gonna do that. Like most people now are lazy. They're doom scrolling on their phone, they're consuming content, they're mentally masturbating about the things that they want to do, but they never will, right? As far as starting a clothing brand, I get hundreds of messages. Hey man, how do you start a clothing brand? How do you do this? How do you do that? How do you start on social media? Well, the only thing I did was start, because as you could tell from the story I just gave, I had no idea what direction I was going to go in. I mean, I started with crypto, that fucking failed. I tried to be an editor, that fucking failed. I was literally just trying shit. But the thing is, I wanted, like, the first thing I told you guys is that I envied this one person, and I became inspired. Once I was inspired, that was a wrap. You can't really fail unless you give up. You can't fail unless you give up. Anyone who would like to live a similar life to me in terms of becoming a content creator, now I understand that I'm not the most famous person in the world, and I'm not, you know, this just completely rich balling guy. And, you know, at a certain point, like, what does that even matter? Because, You know, the number in your bank account doesn't reflect how happy you are, because like I said, it's a matter of a perspective and a matter of worldview. And a lot of people do all this work and they do the Sigma grind set and they try and make all this money and they actually achieve the money, but they don't have the right perspective. They think their value to the world is how much money they make, but that's not really the case, is it? It's almost like they're trying to justify their existence. Because the truth is, your value is more than just a number on a screen. Your value is based on your character, and you may judge your character on your ability to execute a task. But sometimes things don't go to plan. So be sure never to judge yourself solely based on results, and judge yourself on the process and the journey you underwent to try and obtain those results, because that is far more telling. I have a lot of plans for this channel. I want to be one of the biggest YouTubers and just provide a ton of value. And like I said, become that older brother that I never had, as corny as it sounds. I have a bunch of videos lined up. I'm on day 5 of NoFap, so I've been doing NoFap. I'm doing a 30-day NoFap challenge. That video is going to be coming at you. We're going to do bodybuilder versus jiu-jitsu. But guys, please comment down below what videos you guys want to see.